Okay. So thanks for everybody that did hop on. I know that Paul had a call today where he was giving away some Thrive credits, but he's also doing that on Thursdays. He always does it on every Tuesdays and Thursday. They have the Lavelle live calls. So if you're ever feeling like you just need some additional fire back up in your step or whatever that looks like, to just listen to some stories and get that newness back alive in your, when we've been doing this for a while, sometimes I think we lose the spark, and those Tuesday and Thursday calls really help with like reigniting that. So but what I'm going to talk about today is all things self-development. So the amazing thing about network marketing is that some people joke and say it's self-development attached with a paycheck. So it is so important for your business to have self-development. First of all, if you're not progressing, if you feel like you're not progressing in your life, if you're not progressing in your business, there is something that is blocking you. And utilizing self-development will really help unlock whatever's going on in your life and whatever is blocking you. And it's something that's really, really personal. What works for one person won't work for another. So we are in the when you're in the self-employed business, it's really important for you to take some sort of self-development, because you're going to run into those things that happen to you in life. You know, your kids, you have events, you have life events, you have stuff going on. And yes, you have those things in your regular 9-to-5 job, but with a business, you have the choice whether or not you're going to work your business. Like, you don't have the choice whether or not you're going to show up to your 9-to-5, because you will get fired. So that's why it is so important for you to be doing self-development on a daily, weekly basis, because when you encounter those roadblocks, self-development will help you gain things, learn things about yourself. They'll help you push past all that. Because you need to progress in your thinking. You need to, progress in your consistency, what you're doing all the time. And in order for your business to grow, you need to progress yourself. Because with each new rank, especially in this business, every rank is going to require a new you. So that means you're going to have to develop some sort of leadership skill, because you're going to have all these people that are starting to come onto your team, or you have to overcome people saying no to you. So it's a self-confidence thing. Like, there's so much that goes into this business that self-development can really help you overcome and learn about yourself. It is such a personal thing. So like I said in the beginning, self-development that works for one person might not and probably won't work for another, because it needs to be super personal to you. We each have our own journeys. We each have our own struggles, obstacles, things like that. And self-development, yes, you can look at other people and see what they're doing and like borrow some of the stuff that they're doing just to figure out what works best for you. But you need to look at it like, just because so-and-so is doing something self-development wise and they're successful doesn't mean that by you doing it will make you successful, if that makes any sense. Because they have different things that they're going through. They have different walks of life. They have different things that they've encountered. They have different personal struggles than you do. And what works for them might not work for you. So it's good to sample from people, like I said, but don't always think that because this person reads these books all the time, that that's something that you have to do. You got to figure out what works best for you and what ignites your fire. I've learned a ton about myself through self-development, and what I've noticed in my journey in self-development is that it has evolved. What I did a year ago is not what I do right now. And that's how it should be, because you as a person should be evolving, if that makes sense. So when I'm talking self-development, this can be in several different forms. It can be in podcasts. Maybe you listen to podcasts. Maybe you watch some stuff on YouTube. Maybe you read some self-development books. Maybe it's you plug into Zooms like this that help you with developing your skill set, developing maybe confidence or whatever that looks like. But there's not a one size fits all that for everybody. There is unique individual things that each person needs to work on, and really uncovering where your area of struggle is or what might be blocking you is how you can utilize self-development to the fullest. So for example, for me, I was struggling a lot with comparison and closing techniques. So for me, the comparison thing, I was watching everybody else and comparing my journey to theirs and being like getting frustrated with where I was and like, why am I not progressing? Like, why am I not where they're at? They started the same time I did. So why is it that they're so much farther than me? Like that was a big struggle for me. And I had to look into searching for things that help with self-confidence and really understanding journeys and processes in order for me to overcome that, because that was my own deep-seated stuff that I was dealing with, that my own self-worth issues as to why I didn't think I was successful even though I was. So really looking at the things like, what are the things you're really struggling with? Is it that you struggle with, like I said, closing techniques? So maybe your self-development for a week or for a day or something like that would be looking up some closing techniques and then applying them. Or if you're struggling with like when you get up in the morning, you just feel like you don't really have the motivation to get working on your business. So maybe you need to plug into a YouTube video about motivation. Like I like using that stuff from time to time, but like I can't watch a motivational video every single day because that's not what's going to light my fire on some days. Because let's be honest, some days you're super motivated to do your business, right? And then some days you're like, man, I'm just not feeling this. So sometimes I need that kick in the ass, if that makes sense, to help me get into the right mindset and really push forward. But on the other days where I'm already self-motivated, maybe it's something that I need to self-develop on that's going to fine-tune my skill set that'll help me be even more successful. So I think that your self-development can be in all areas of your life, because if you want to be holistically successful, you got to look at many areas: your health, your mindset. You got to look at what your stuff that you're saying to yourself. Limiting beliefs is another thing. Your finances, like that's another piece of self-development too, because if you want to grow a big business, that comes with big money, you guys, and you got to have to learn how to manage your money properly, because when that wealth does come, you got to be prepared for it and you're not blowing it all over the place, and really understanding what to do with your taxes and stuff like that. So like self-development, I think, gets this like fluffy rap that everyone thinks of, like, oh, you read all these self-help books or you're just, watching motivational videos on YouTube, but it should really be about what you're needing to learn about yourself and then finding something that's good, that's going to align with that. So like I have a billion books, right? Do I read them all? No. Rachel Hollis calls that shelf esteem. If you just have a bunch of books that are sitting on your bookshelf, but you're not actually utilizing them, you're not doing anything with them, then like, what's the purpose of you even having those books? But I've gotten things like, because I've heard other people have read them. So I bought them and then I started reading it. I'm like, this doesn't really like light my fire. Like it's not something that's really motivating me, or I just like end up reading part of it and then I'm like, I'm bored, and that's not going to do anything for me. So I've had to really like go through and look at different things. I used to just watch strictly YouTube videos when I first started doing self-development. It was me just watching YouTube videos, and it was usually like Gary Vee or Tony Robinson or something like that. It's like super dry in my house. But like that's what I started with, and I felt like it helped me with some things, but there was nothing I could like practically take away from it that was actually going to propel me forward. So I had to realize that that stuff was great and all, but I needed something different, and that's okay. So like I read a book, because I'm really religious. If you guys don't know that about me, like I read devotionals every single day because that's what helps me get in alignment. I read a really great book about purpose that helped me, and that's what really launched my self-development journey, because I realized a lot of stuff in that book, and then I figured out like this is something that I was missing in my life, and it really helped me with my mindset. So I don't know if you guys want to drop some things that you're currently doing for self-development to share with others. That's going to help other people start to look for different things that might work for them. But I'm telling you, like, it's going to be ever evolving. I'm just going to read my notes real quick. Like, application is probably the most important piece of self-development. Like, you can listen to all the self-help books on tape, you can read all the books, you can watch all the motivational videos, you can do all the Zooms, you can do all that stuff, right? But if you're not actually taking the things that you're learning through the self-development and actually applying them, then you might as well have not even done it because you're not moving forward and it's doing nothing for you. So anytime I do something in the morning, if I'm like, I've been plugging into Rachel Hollis's podcast, that's a really good one. Or the Gold Digger podcast is another one I like. I like Ed Milet's podcast. I like to watch Elevation Church on YouTube sometimes if I'm feeling like I need my cup poured into that way. I've read some really great books that have helped me with like procrastination because that's something that I struggle with. Like, I used to end the day and be like, well, I added a friend and I interacted with one person because I just allowed like all the little things to seep into my day, right? So everybody's journey is different. That therefore everyone's self-development needs to be different. Like, you need to take it personally, like really personally. And it takes a lot of self-reflection. There's been times where I've done self-development and I've been bawling my eyes out because I'm like, dang, like that's speaking to me because I really sucked at that or whatever that looks like. But you need to like really like look into in the morning while I'm running. I listen to speak. I'm going to read that. Hold on. Let me just pop over because I want to read what you just said. In the morning when I'm running, I will listen to speeches. Then I journal at night. I read for 20 minutes a real book, then listen until I fall asleep to Hypnosis for Success. Awesome. Yeah. See, it's like sometimes I need motivation and self-development like throughout the day. If I'm just struggling with keeping my mindset on track all day, sometimes I will have to like put a set of headphones in when my daughter's taking a nap and listen to another round of like something that's going to make me reignite so that I get refocused. Because let's be honest, motivation is garbage, you guys. Motivation doesn't happen every single day, every minute of the day, every hour of the day. Like, it's something you have to have dedication and you have to have consistency. Yes, those are what's going to get you to success because motivation isn't always there. And there's times where I'm running throughout the day and I'm like, I just can't. And then I just need to remind myself, maybe I just need to plug into something so that my mindset gets fixed, because we're all guilty of sometimes looking left or right throughout the day. Like, somebody gets shouted out for something, or somebody talks about how they got a new customer and like it's been weeks since you've gotten a new customer or whatever that looks like. And then you get into that funk, right? Because it totally happens to all of us. My friend, and it's so important that you guys have like a sideline that you guys can talk to too, because they're not vested into your paycheck or anything like that. So if any of you know me, like Katie is my sideline sister and her and I bounce off of each other a lot. But there'll be days when I'm reaching out to her and I'm like, I'm just having a bad day. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to post. I don't know what to say. I'm feeling really low and frustrated because I feel like I'm not getting any traction. Like, I will have those conversations with her, and sometimes she's my self-development for the day. But she'll tell me, like, unplug from your phone and go read your book, or like go listen to your self-development, because sometimes we're blocking ourselves and getting inside of our own head. And that self-development can help you get outside of it. So, and like I said, it's different for whatever scenario I'm going through. There isn't a one size fits all. Like, I do some things exactly the same every day. Like, I journal. I write some affirmations down to help me like be focused and keep going. And then I write some goals down every day. Those are the things that are consistent, but what I'm using to like fill my cup is changing every single day. Like, I don't go and listen to the same podcast all week long. And I don't like sit and read a book the entire week. I'll do like a video one day. I'll do a book another day. My daughter's in here. Great. I'll do a book one day. I'll do a video another day. Maybe I'll watch something on YouTube. Maybe I'll listen to a podcast the other day. It's all dependent upon how I'm feeling, what I'm waking up to, and what's kind of going on in my life, like within my household too. But I would say the most important piece is that you're doing something self-development wise in the morning before you even plug into your phone, like at all. I mean, you can like get on your phone and like listen to a podcast or like watch something on YouTube or maybe something along those lines or listen to an audible book or something. But before you start tackling your day, before you start talking to your potentials, before you start engaging with people that are on your team, it's so important that you take that time for yourself, because if this isn't right, your whole day can be thrown a loop. I know there's been times where I haven't done that before, and I like, it's such a habit for us now in this technology age. When you wake up, you look at your phone right away, right? I would wake up and there would be like a bunch of questions that somebody had, or maybe somebody would have been shouted out for something that I didn't achieve. And then it set my day off in the wrong like path. The whole entire day was thrown off just because I decided to pick up my phone and look at something first before plugging into myself. It's so important that you get your mindset straight, that you work on the things that you're struggling with first and pour into your own cup before you face the world. I always say word before world because I plug into my Bible before the world. But like that, if you're not religious, you can totally do something different. Plug into a good book, plug into a podcast, plug into a YouTube, plug into an Audible book that you're reading that you really enjoy, like something that's going to help you be prepared and positioned to handle your day with success, if that makes sense, because the world will throw stuff at you and it'll totally throw you off. And then you'll find you're running through the day and you're like, how did I get so off track with everything? Why am I feeling so down? Why am I frustrated by the littlest things? It's because you didn't fill your mind, fill yourself, and do something for you first before you took on the entire world first. So that's the like first thing that I would suggest if you're looking to start with some self-development, is make sure that you're dedicating some time to your self-development first thing in the morning before you look at your tracker on the cloud office, or before you go into the team chats or anything like that. Like, just do something. You know what? Maybe it's just looking something up on Pinterest. Like, I do that all the time. I'll just search. If I'm feeling like I'm struggling with like a little self-worth issues, I'll just put in worthiness quotes and I'll start scrolling, and then I'll start to feel better about myself. So that's the first thing I would do. Second thing, I will probably post a list of like suggestions in Thrive Above All and Thrive to Survive on what you can do for self-development if you're just feeling like, I don't even know where to start. Don't feel like you need to be super overwhelmed. Like, YouTube is a plethora of videos that you can plug into. That's where I started, you guys. That's where I started. But there is a plethora of things in there that you can look up at any time, and there's going to be a video on it. Motivation, self-discipline. That's another one. Maybe it's procrastination. Maybe it's closing techniques for your sales. Like, that stuff is important too. It's not just about mindset. Sometimes my self-development is skill related. Maybe it is how to effectively start a conversation, or maybe it is how to properly market on Instagram. Like, stuff like that can be your self-development too, because it's growing your skill set. If anytime that you're evolving anything within your life, that is what is self-development. So it's your mind, it's your skill set, whatever that looks like. So thanks for everyone that hopped on. If you guys need help with looking for anything for self-development, let me know. I'm happy to share. I wanted to keep this short for everybody because I know that it's getting late and people have things going on. So, but I want to encourage you, if you're not currently doing some sort of self-development, like, start tomorrow in the morning and you'll notice a big change within your business, because you'll start shifting your mindset and how you start doing things. So hope this was valuable to you guys. I love you all. If you have any additional questions, you can also plop them in the post that's on the team pages, and I'll go back and answer those for you too. So I hope everyone has a great night.